Okay, cool.
Okay.
And screen.
Hi, I'm Laurie Battaglia, the CEO of Aligned at Work. Welcome to the Wake Up Call Live, where we have authentic, action-oriented conversations about creating truly inclusive lives and workplaces where people feel they belong. In this time of significant change and debate around workplace inclusion, we're bringing you the perspectives and the practical solutions that matter. It's about real people and real impact. Each month, I sit down with change makers who are navigating these complex waters of life and work. We dive deep into what's working, what isn't, and what's next in leadership and life. I invite you to be part of this important conversation. Drop your questions and insights into the comments, and we'll address them live during the show and continue the discussion afterward. Your voice matters in shaping the future of work. I can't wait for you to meet today's guest. Oh, this is going to be fun today, folks. So if you are live, I invite you to put comments, questions, and everything. I keep pointing down like it's LinkedIn because most of our crowd is on LinkedIn, but we're also on YouTube and we're also on Instagram at the same time. So please do say hi, put your comments and questions. We will answer them live as we see them pop up. And let me do Lisa Duerre's official bio here so that you know exactly who we're talking to today. So Lisa Duerre is a friend of mine, and she's also the CEO and co-founder. She's AI Leadership Alignment and Leadership System Strategist with the RLD Group. She's a former Fortune 500 executive, and she helps organizations strengthen leadership alignment, leadership systems, and cross-functional collaboration so that AI creates value rather than amplifying fragmentation. Beyond her work with executive teams, Lisa is a passionate advocate for lipedema awareness. She's the perfect person to have on for this, the Disability Awareness Month, or Pride Month, I should say. Her personal journey with lipedema has shaped her perspective on resilience, self-advocacy, and the power of conversations to create lasting change. Lisa leads RLD Group's Applied AI Leadership Alignment Research, and she's co-author of the upcoming Conversations Worth Having, the Human Accelerator for Artificial Intelligence AI Quick Start Guide. Today, Lisa joins us to share her journey with lipedema, the leadership lessons that it has taught her, and why the conversations that we have with ourselves, our employers, our healthcare providers, and all the people around us can transform both health and leadership. So she's here to open the door wide on what is lipedema and how has it affected her and all that. So Lisa, did I miss anything in that bio? Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
What if we can say I'm Laurie Battaglia's #1 fan and I'm thrilled to be here live today? How about
and
that?
It's mutual.
Put that in there.
Oh my gosh, yes. And it's mutual. And I've been on your podcast and here you are on mine. And so let's get started with how, so I think initially from our friendship and our longtime relationship, you began to realize that you had lipedema.
Mm-hmm.
And I think initially that was probably something you didn't want to like bring to the forefront, but things have changed. So
oh my gosh,
do that a little bit, like how that happened and how that go. And
oh, Laurie, yeah, you actually known me through the process, which is so cool, and it's such an honor to be here to shine light on this, because lipedema currently the research is showing affects 1 in 11 women, and it's misunderstood and gets missed many times. I think on average, it's the data is changing because we're getting social media has helped a lot with awareness, but research is getting funded. You know, there is hope here, people, but on average, it was taking people around 20 years to get diagnosed.
Ooh.
And with people like me who are fed up with not realizing I've had this my whole life, they're going to social media and they're starting to tell their stories, show their bodies, because that's how you can see it. And it's really changed the whole landscape here. So it's an honor to be in the lane of talking about it and how it impacts work, what it's like to have a career and live with this misunderstood. Some people say disease, some people say condition. I'm going to say life-altering experience. So yeah, how it all started for me is I've had a lifetime of weight loss and gain. And I used to joke a lot about, I've gained and lost 500 pounds, because when you go through life in a body that doesn't react and respond to diet and exercise the way you expect it to, humor is a coping mechanism, right?
Yes.
So long story short, I've been on every diet, everything you can imagine. And through the evolution of life, I've had what I now know were flares. So puberty was the first flare of lipedema for me. Pregnancy, again. Perimenopause hit, flared again. Menopause, like it was like a flipping train wreck.
Yeah.
So I hit menopause during COVID, and I was very overwhelmed and confused, didn't have a lot of medical care. And the bottom line was I was in pain all the time, and it was very hard to walk. And in the span of about a year, I gained 100 pounds. And I just didn't understand what was going on. And we had a family vacation planned with a lot of walking involved. And I made the call, which I've never done, which was like, I'm not going on this vacation. I can't. It's not possible for me to do what the itinerary is that we're planning. Wow. And my stepmom was so shocked at me not pushing through, because that's also what led to my burnout. And I talk about burnout all the time, right? But I wasn't pushing through, and it got her like, oh, this is bad. Like, if she's not going, something's wrong. So she's researching. I was so grateful for her. And she had always told me that my legs didn't look normal. And as a child of a step parent, I was always irritated by that and didn't feel loving. She didn't mean it mean, but that's how I took it.
Yeah.
She started Googling column-like legs, painful legs, fat legs, like whatever she could come up with to try and explain it to herself. And she found a research paper with pictures. And she said, look, I don't know if you want to talk about it. I don't want to offend you.
Yeah.
Because basically she's calling out that, I'm not able to walk and my legs are big, right? She said, but I'd like you to read it and let's talk. So I did, and I started sobbing. It's like, it all made sense, Laurie.
Yeah.
Like this, column-like legs, ankle cuffing, disproportionate fat in parts of your body. So some people have in their butt. Some people have it in their legs. Some people have it in their arms. I have it. Let's see. I'll show you my arms. You have it in my arms, and I have it everywhere. So I'm the lucky one. I've got every type. But when I read it and I started to just process, like, holy cow, this is what's going on in my body, because it's complex. And what I was reading was basically saying you lose your mobility, like you're gonna be wheelchair and bed bound. And I was already on that path. So it just was like a huge talk about a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Wake up call, right? And so I started everything I could, research, finding communities, doing what I could to learn more. But there is a massive amount of grief in it too, right? It's really cool to have a name for it, but the name sucks. It's not like, yay, it's going to be better. It's a tremendous amount of work to manage. And it's a tremendous opportunity to raise your resilience quota, be more vulnerable and ask for help, and also manage self-care through the lens of this is my health, not just I'm feeling tired today. It's a whole, anyway, I'll stop. You will go where you want to go, but that's how it happened.
Well, I think of things as like, people look at other people and they make judgments about size.
Yep.
They fat shame.
Yep.
They do all the things. And like you said, it's just diet and exercise. Why can't you get that done? And it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Do we want to show that picture that shows what it actually looks like, that image?
Let's bring it up. So we do have a photo to show you the different types and how it shows up in bodies. So it's progressive, and it can show up in different ways, but this is an image from Lipedema Simplified, which was an organization that I worked with for a few years as an advocate. I helped them with conferences. I consulted on workplace advocacy, wrote some ebooks about, work and lipedema. But I just think it's important to look at these photos to see, like, yeah, you probably know people right now. You might even be thinking to yourself, is this me? So if it is, there's help and there's hope, but you also need to know what it is so you can do something about it. And you can see how it presents to someone who doesn't know this exists. You can just call you fat or chubby or, big boned or whatever, like people label it, right? Yep.
and it's
This is
not
what it
coming.
looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier, oh, huh, okay. So you have a comment there in the thing. Oh, here we are.
Noreen, oh
Making it
my gosh,
easy.
Noreen, it's so good to see
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Oh, Noreen is awesome. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Noreen. Yeah, you can share your journey in here too. Bring your voice in, it matters, and I'm
Yeah.
thrilled you're here. We've
Yeah.
actually just been emailing. I haven't talked to her in a while, so I'm so glad you're here.
There you go.
That's
I
awesome.
love it when people show up,
Me
and
too.
then comment in the comments. So
Yeah.
yeah, please
Yeah.
do, folks. Please do. Um,
Yeah.
so you mentioned when we were getting prepped and everything, that picture is a very white picture, but this affects people of all races.
All
Yes.
races. It affects men too. Let's just call it. They just don't have the research yet. Like
Yeah.
this is it's a human body with a human
Yeah.
system, right? And
Yeah.
so there's a component of here in lipedema. You have these fat nodules that feel like kind of like rice under your skin. See if
Okay.
you can kind of see it. See the little bumps here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So people are like, that's cellulite. I'm like, you don't have cellulite on your forearm.
Right.
There's certain areas of your body. There's another, like it's like a teardrop at the back of your knee. So your lymphatics start to clog there. That's another sign. And then there's something under your knee. There's all kinds of pictures. You can listen, do the Google or go ask chat and it's going to show up.
Yeah.
But and that's great because that wasn't for me. I'm not then, right? My point of it is that a lot of us with lipedema also have metabolic disorders, right? We also have obesity. It's not like you can just like be, oh, it's just this. For many of us with a lifetime of not knowing, the system in your body gets compromised and it's complex. And so for me, as I advanced with that weight gain at the menopause stage, my hormones fluxed, the weight came on, my lymphatics were compromised. And so I ended up having lymphedema and lipedema and
Okay.
obesity.
Oh,
Right? And the trifecta.
yeah.
So I've had to really like segment out and I kept thinking, do I deal with the obesity first or do I deal with lipedema or lymphedema? Like where do we start? And where I really started, where I had to figure out was what's going to relieve my pain so that I can take the next action. So yeah, that was a conversation worth having for sure. I had to get really clear
Yeah.
about what matters most right now and what's one small thing I can do today to not stay stuck or depressed, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you're big on you actually said to me last time, like, "What's one small thing you can do?" Because I was whining about not being found by AI. Well, I gotta tell you, Lisa, I don't do anything small, right? So,
No,
I
Laurie
went
does
over
not
to
play
ask our
small.
AI and it gave us 14 pages of what we needed to do. So I was
I
like,
got you.
"Maybe
Yep,
I
it's one.
should."
Let's just pick one. You tell AI, "Give me the most impactful thing in under 10 minutes."
Yeah.
Like, squeeze it.
Yes.
No, it's too
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
love that, especially with my ADHD brain. So knowing you, then I had a name for things I had seen before. I've seen this in people. I've
yep,
specifically seen it in women, and I've seen women in the little, like, carts that,
yep, that
go
was
around
me.
and
I
things
was
'cause
in one.
mhm,
Yep,
mhm, and I
yep.
don't think people know, and I love having a name for it, and I like that you brought up lymphedema because I didn't know they were 2 different things.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
know
Most
this.
people don't. Most
Yeah.
people don't. And then, we're all learning. I mean, so I had the honor to speak to the National Institute of Health. I
Mm,
was blessed to go to Potsdam to advocate in front of a room of researchers and share patient stories,
nice.
including my own. And what I learned, which really was maddening to me, but it's also fuel, was how little time is spent in medical school on the lymphatic system and
Mhm.
how much they're learning now. There's a new program the government just announced. I think it's called ARPA, and they're actually looking at the lymphatics across your entire body. So I'm just so glad that it's starting to get awareness because you have lymphatics in your brain. I mean, you have to like drain them. It's your toxic waste that needs to get drained. And in lymphedema, it
Mhm.
gets protein rich, stuck, it causes lots of your fascia gets connected with the gunky protein in your lymphatics, and you just get these nodules that are really hard, and it's like scar tissue, but that's not what they call it.
Mhm.
You just have these lumps and bumps everywhere, and it hurts. It really is painful.
Um,
Yeah.
Suzanne asked a really good question, and it
Oh,
was,
cool.
how is lipedema diagnosed?
Oh, Suzanne, let's see. So I self-diagnosed. I read everything and went to my doctor and said, I think I have this. I was sobbing. And the doctor said, I've never heard of this. Let me do some research. And so she came back and was like, yeah, I think you got this. You qualify for this. Vascular clinics, venous insufficiency is really common. So I do see people get diagnosed by vascular doctors. The Lipedema Foundation and Lipedema Simplified both have websites to find a provider for diagnosis. So
Okay.
there's ways to search that up in your zip code. There's lots of patient advocates who are sharing this information online. And of course, I also went to a couple of surgeons. Oh, great, Noreen, that's awesome. So look, we already have one right here, Dr.
Mhm.
Lindy McCutcheon at Carolina Vein Center. Yeah, so vein doctors definitely help.
Okay.
And the other thing I would say is there's a lot of paperwork now you can bring to the doctor to help you get diagnosed. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and let's see. I love Noreen and Suzanne are going for this. This is so
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Let's see what they say. So yeah, some people advocate with their doctor and are lucky like me where the doctor listens. There are many times that doctors blow you off and they say exercise more, reduce your calories.
Mhm.
It's starting to get a little bit better, but there are lots of patient communities that provide support for when you're being gaslit or ignored because it's real and you finally have a name for something and then
Yeah.
you can be blown off like, oh, that's some internet trend. It's like, no,
Yeah.
this is real. This is
Yeah.
real. And I think sometimes not everyone has pain. And so there was a big conversation a few years ago, like, does pain have to be present for you to get diagnosed? And I think the jury's still out, but for me, the pain happened as it progressed. When I was earlier stages, I wasn't in pain. I just, my legs didn't fit in boots. That's another thing. If your legs don't fit in boots, there's something up, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No
Okay,
knowledge
let's see
or
what Noreen's saying. Yeah.
typical. Very swollen, Dr.
Oh, this is so cool. So Dr. Lindy was working with Karen Herbst, and Karen is very famous in our community.
Mhm.
Yeah. This is so great. I'm so glad that Suzanne and Noreen are in this conversation. This is beautiful.
Me too.
This
And I
patient community is very active. You will, if you say lipedema, someone's going to show up for sure. Yeah.
that's really cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of other more invisible
Mhm.
disabilities,
Yep.
where things like everything from lupus to fibromyalgia, where
Yeah.
people had these symptoms, but they just weren't being diagnosed with something.
Yep.
Doctors weren't aware of it, or maybe it was too rare.
Yeah.
So
Even chronic fatigue, right? Long COVID. There's
yeah,
a lot going on. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've talked to a lot of people over time that have those kinds of things going on that you don't necessarily see on the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, diagnosed in 2019 at age 53. So
Yeah.
you can go your whole life with these
Your
things,
whole life.
your
Yes.
whole life.
All of us in our 50s are like, what the heck?
Yeah,
Right? And but now you can look down your family line and you can start to see, oh yeah, you got grandma's legs or auntie's arms and then you start to look across and you go, okay, let's the next generation and what's happening. And for me, the greatest gift I gave myself, Noreen was at this event when I was sharing my own story and I was putting my pictures together because I was trying to get insurance to cover the surgery, which is
mhm,
liposuction, not cosmetic. It removes all those nodules.
okay,
We're getting there. It's slow. It's a very slow process. But I was putting these photos together and it clicked for me because then I could see the progression. And so I, in that community, shared some slides with pictures of my progression and was I just was so I was so honored to have that space and I was so appreciative of that space because
mhm,
there was a lot of tears, but
yeah,
there was a lot of healing for me because
yeah,
I could finally put a name to it and stop just blaming myself or judging myself and thinking, there you go again on another diet, because does
right,
my body respond to diet? Yeah. But does the lipedema go away? No. Right. And so the more the weight that comes off, the more bumpy and lumpy you get. You're like, whoa, it looks like mattress, so.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's yeah. I'm thinking of people I know that if the moment is right. How would you? Because I do want you to go over
Oh,
your
I know
journey.
where you're going. How do you tell
Yeah.
somebody you've got
How
it?
do you say something to somebody like, "Hey, did you get that checked out?"
I know. Yeah.
How do I say something, or do I, to
So here's the
someone?
deal. It varies, and I think Noreen and Suzanne may be able to chime in here too. So my stance is my daughter gets so frustrated with me because I talk to everybody. When I go to the pool for compression, right? I'm in the pool and I'm like, hey, have you ever heard of lipedema? I'm in here for compression. You want to, I let people feel my arm so they can tell, my daughter
Nice.
is like, what are you doing? But she's a teenager, right?
She needs
So
therapy
I
later.
tell it through my own story and I share like if I'm in the pool, why I'm in the pool. And
Mhm,
it helps me take my power back because I'm like, I know you're thinking, so I'm just going to bring it up. That's
mhm,
me now. That's a few
mhm.
years. Other people, I built a small Facebook group when I wanted to give updates to my family and friends because it was too much. It was very heavy in the beginning. I mean, I couldn't get a blood pressure cuff on my arm. There's a whole bunch here.
Yeah.
But they kept saying, well, I see it now. I see it now. I was like, great, that's the first part. And then they'd be like, can I have so-and-so talk to you? Absolutely. So I've been known to like get these emails at RLD Group. Like, I think I have lipedema. I'm like, let's talk. Right. So I've never come out to someone and said, I think you have it. I usually, because I share my story, people will say to me, I think I have it. What should I do? There are postcards you can leave. You know, my eye doctor, my dermatologist, my gynecologist, my beautician, beauty team, whatever. Everyone knows what lipedema is. I hand them all brochures and I'm like, here, right? But it's a tender subject because usually you've lived your life for a long time at some level of shame and self-loathing because your body doesn't look like somebody else's.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And no matter what you did, you couldn't fix it. You know,
Oh
you
my
couldn't
gosh.
look
No
like
matter what you did, you couldn't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
But you know,
yeah.
you can stop progression. There are things you can do once you know. But if
Okay.
you don't know, what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm noticing that Noreen says she had a lot of surgeries and that Blue Cross Blue Shield at that time was not covering. It was 100% out of pocket.
Yep. It is
So I
a
would
very
imagine that that's another place for advocacy.
Oh, big time. Yeah, and I'm loving that Noreen's sharing this because it's real. I did a GoFundMe for my surgery, and I run a small business, and I thought, what are people gonna think? Right? I'm a,
Yeah.
CEO of a consulting firm, and I'm asking for money. Well, healthcare is no joke.
Nobody
And
can pay
and then
the
on top of it
yeah.
all, my surgery got postponed because of some worries for complications, right? So I'm raising money, and then it's like, "Oh, I haven't had the surgery yet." I had a whole, like, "What do people think of me?"
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's the
Yeah.
reality. So people are mortgaging homes. People are definitely taking out of their retirement. It is no joke, and the surgery is expensive, and it's not a walk in the park. And 7, to Noreen's point 7, that is, they can only do so much at a time, and you have to recoup and then get back to it. So it affects your time off work. It affects your ability to work. There's a lot of things that are involved. This
Yeah.
is not, this is not a simple cosmetic lift. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Do you want to put that, you want us to put the other screenshot up that shows you at different
Yeah, let's talk about all the things you can do to help yourself, right?
Yeah.
So this is another slide.
And the other one.
Let's see.
Can we get the one with all the pictures of Lisa on it? There we
Yeah,
are.
so self-care is not selfish, people, right? But I think from someone who is a manager at work, a leader at work, and someone's body looks like this, and you're like, hey, can you do the red eye and then get up in the morning and go to this thing and push all day, right? Well, when you fly, it affects your lymphatics. You swell. Okay. So I always say, wherever I go, there needs to be a pool because I need to support myself. So that top picture is my lymphatic pump that I sit on the couch at home. You'll see my laptop, and I tell people, let's chat while I pump. And of course, they go somewhere else, which is a great opening door. And I say,
Yeah.
no, my lymphatic pump.
Yeah.
So that's a way that I support my lymphatics. The water is a way I support my lymphatics. The next thing you see is me at my desk, but you'll see my feet up. My feet are up right now. So elevating my feet helps.
Okay.
I do get wheelchair assistance when I'm at the airport when it's a really long walk. It's just a gift
Yeah.
for me because it's already stressful enough. Am I going to fit in the seat? Am I going to have it? Am I going to be too slow to get to the gate? How long is the queue to get through? How long do I have to stand? Right. I've purchased more than one airline seat for myself so that I could fly comfortably. That's my daughter and I taking her to her first concert, and I bought an extra seat because I didn't fit. Right. I have a bike that now has a motor on it, so I don't miss out on family bike rides. When I need the motor, I turn it on. I get lymphatic drainage regularly. That's my lymphatic therapist, Christine King. She's in the Pacific Northwest. She's amazing. That's me doing dishes rather than cooking because it's a faster, less standing. So we modified how we run the household.
Yeah.
And then my mental health that makes me so happy is to be out on the water on the boat. And we modified that. For a while, I couldn't get my leg over the side of the boat. So we got a ladder and my husband changed that. So I didn't miss out on life, but there was a lot of advocacy, asking for help, and getting very creative in how I can run a business, parent, be present in life, and still do work that matters to me. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into managing and supporting yourself with this disease.
Yeah. It occurs to me too that a lifetime of living with it, and then the shame that comes with it, and then you have to ask for help.
Yes, one might think, I've spent my whole life not asking for help.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree with you, Noreen. I can't see myself ever saying, "Hey," you know,
right.
but
Yeah,
the question is, if you I think it's easier to bring up in a private conversation where you're talking to a friend, like, "Hey, I have this friend that has this. Have you looked at that?"
yeah, have you
Um,
heard of it? Oh my gosh, I was
yeah,
so shocked. Yeah, it's
yeah,
great with a question, like, "Oh my,
yeah.
have you seen this?" 'Cause, and by the way, we have podcasts about it, we've got videos about it. There's a wonderful documentary, The Disease They Call Fat. It's a little bit older now because so much has changed, but it shows you the patient experience and what it's like to go through this and what you need from your family and support.
Yeah,
So you can say, "Have you seen this documentary? I just watched this cool thing." There's
yeah,
ways. Yeah.
yeah. So you've also so you brought it right out in the open. Let's talk a little bit about the intersection with leadership.
Sure.
So how has this impacted you? I'm just going to let you run with it. Take it away.
Oh.
Lipedema and leadership.
So
Talk
it's
about
interesting. Yeah,
it.
it's been an evolution for me for sure. And I did a functional capacity exam as part of my insurance packet to see if I could get it covered. And she said I was disabled. She
Mhm.
literally was like, "You're disabled." Lori, what? What do you mean
Yeah.
I'm disabled? Even my grasping capability, it was like a question. Walking upstairs. Anyway, this issue is lovely.
Hmm.
But what I realized was, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that I would qualify for that label, right? What that really means. And then I was really then it caused me to go, "Whoa, what else is going on for people? How many people are disabled and don't know it? How many people are pushing through and don't know it?" Because that was
Yeah.
my burnout lane, right?
Yeah.
So I just started really asking, checking in with clients, friends, how's it going? What would make work easier for you? Especially thinking about design of like conferences and events and business
Oh,
trips. I had a whole awareness about it. And so I started just asking leaders, what do you factor in when you design? Right. Because I'm also a facilitator and an
yeah.
event designer.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it through the lens of how tall are the tables? Do the chairs have arms on them? Does the hotel have a pool? Are the chairs all locked together in those conference rooms so nobody can fit or have any space, right? And
Mhm.
then what happened for me in my own leadership journey was I read a research paper that said 80% of lipedema patients have ADHD. And
Wow.
I joked to my team, "Can you believe that?" And then they looked at me like,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, "What?" So then
Yeah.
I went down that path, I got diagnosed, and that came with its own process as well.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at the intersection of neurodiversity, anti-fat bias, workplace accommodations, and I just started asking a bunch of people who knew more than me, "What does this look like for you? How does it feel? What do you need to be successful?" And the more I told my story, the more they were like, "Oh my gosh, me too. I've never even thought about it." So, I go on LinkedIn when people write things about like event design, and I always like, "Have you thought about the chairs?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the long story short of all of it is I used to keep my lipedema work separate from my consulting work for leadership. And I realized that my gift to the world, at least what I feel called to share, is that intersection of what does it mean to lead the humans, and those humans inside your system, they're not telling you all that's going on, right? They're
Mhm.
not saying I'm in pain
Right.
or I need compression or can I get there a day earlier or can I upgrade so that I'm more comfortable? Everyone's just like trying to stay here and not ask for anything or draw attention.
Yeah.
And it's just really opened my eyes that the more that I have the privilege and honor of having a platform
Mhm.
and I can actually start to give people things to think about. And I'll tell you a story about a client. So a client wanted me to go to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I
Okay.
live in Oregon, near Portland. And he's like, just fly to Spokane and hop on the shuttle. And he's a longtime client. And I basically said, I'd prefer to drive because flying is really hard on my system. And I want to bring my best self to this experience that I'm running for your team.
Yeah.
And then I talked to his assistant because they were booking a hotel room for me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm about to go do this. Hi, can you tell me how far the sleeping room is from the meeting room? Are
Mhm.
there stairs or an elevator? Where's the parking?" And I'm asking you because it's painful, and I'm trying to figure out how to resource myself because this work matters to me and I can do a great job, but I need to be rested, hydrated, whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was so cool. She called me back. She goes, "Well, we're meeting in like the executive suite and there's a room. I'm just going to give you that room. You're going to walk 3 feet."
Yes.
Right? And she's like, "I got you. Like, what kind of food do you need?" I'm like, "Not processed," right? So instead of having shame about it, trying to hide it and like get all anxious and do it, I am done with that. And I'm just going to tell you what I need. And then
Yep.
if you want my support, I mean, we do great work. We get great results for our clients. It might mean that, my sleeping room gets put closer to the meeting room. It
Mhm.
could mean that I drive instead of fly so that it's easier. And that's reality. So I did a lot of writing probably 2 years ago about what you don't see behind the Zoom screen. And I did ebooks about, lipedema at work and fat bias. And I started following Aubrey Gordon and listening to her work. I mean, she is just an amazing advocate and ally
Mhm.
for people that don't know even how to talk about it.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, her work inspired me and she lives nearby. So I've put it on my bucket list. I want to meet her someday. So
Mhm.
I follow when she speaks, I go and I'm like the groupie and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you put it in such a great way for people." So she did a movie called Your Fat Friend. It was a documentary. It was fabulous.
Huh.
So yeah, leadership, you're leading humans. Humans are complex. They all have multiple facets of their life going on, and you never know what they're navigating, and they may not even have words for it yet. So how do you create a workplace where the humans inside it can thrive, bring their best, and how do you as a leader stay curious? Curiosity is the absolute minimum standard, I think, to be a leader these days. You've gotta stay curious.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about the world today is now that we have social media for
Mhm.
all the crap that it does a lot of good in that it unites people who are like all over the world and
Yes.
around a common cause.
Yep.
And what I've learned over the past couple of years is that younger generations and people who are going through things right now are forming words for things we never had words for.
Totally. Yes. Yay, younger generation. I'm so grateful.
And we did a thing a couple of years ago with, and Jessie Purdy's on my team or was on my team because her situation has gotten harder and she
Mm.
can't really do the same work anymore. But Jessie was on last year, and when we worked together, she said, "I'm coming from Pennsylvania to Montana. I need a first class seat as an accommodation."
Mhm.
And I thought, my God, she's right. And I realized that like my back has always been wonky and my hips, and a lot of it is a scoliosis that, has
Yeah.
gone that's been mentioned in passing but never done anything about. And so
Right?
I do
Mhm.
all the work with the getting the hips level and all the things, but if I have to fly across the United States to someplace, if I don't have a first class seat, I'm finding it very difficult to function. I find it difficult to get up. People are not
Yep.
real kind in coach with you taking your time. Thank God for white hair because I get a little bit of privilege out of that.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard to sit in that seat for 5 hours and not be able to. And I'm 5'2", and
I
I
know, right? You'd be my favorite person to sit next to. I'm like, we wouldn't I could spill
yeah
over and you'd still got room. Like, you'd be great.
yeah your room and my room.
Right? Yeah.
And I think the I could go on all day, but the airlines have done a lot to force us into those situations with their shitty seats.
Well, it's interesting
Shitty,
'cause yeah,
shitty.
Southwest was like everyone that's a larger size body was like, "Yes, they have a person of size policy. You can buy 2 tickets and they'll refund you 1 because they're managing." Well, they
Oh,
changed it. Well, not anymore.
yeah,
So,
they're like all
yeah,
the rest now. Yeah.
it's really, disheartening, and there's a lot of advocacy going on to raise awareness about that. I had someone say to me, "Oh, you fly first class? That's nice." I said, "Yeah, it'd be great if I could fit in the seat in the back." Like, I get snarky sometimes. I'm tired. I've
Yeah.
been paying I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Really? That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about right now?" But I do try and get back above the line and say, "By the way, the reason I do that is because of this, this, and that, and you probably know someone who's living with it," right? So, I
Yeah.
try and turn it into an opportunity, but there are
I
days
do
I'm like,
too. Whenever I
"Ah."
can, like, inform
Yep,
somebody, like, there's things you don't see going on, and I used
absolutely.
to think, back in the day when I was on the hiring end of things, you'd hear speakers, professional speakers who's like, "And I only sit in first class," and I'm like, "Okay, some of that might have been ego, but
Mhm.
in a lot of cases, it's not ego, it's getting yourself in that space
Yep,
to do the job, because when we
yep,
get to where we have to go, we need to be looking like we're in high energy status, even if we're feeling like crap.
Well, yeah, I talk to leaders all the time. Own your energy and optimize for alignment. That's the two O's in reboot. Own your energy, optimize for alignment. And I'm like,
Yeah.
here's the deal. Again, self-care, right? You see all the things I do. So if I'm going to say I'd rather drive than fly, and here's why, I
Mm-hmm.
hope that there's enough trust in our relationship and integrity in how I show up that I'm not just blowing smoke, but there's a real reason for it. And the more I can tie it back to the business, which is I want to bring the best energy I can, and this is going to help me do that, then they tend to be fine. That client has changed my life when I had done so much work with them virtually, and that was my first in person. And I was super nervous, and they were so great. They paved the way for me to speak about it.
I love that.
Yeah,
I really
thank
love
you.
that. And thinking about all the people out there in our lives that put up with this crap and don't really, don't
Yeah.
know to say something. When they do say something, they're carrying all the shame of like, what's going on here.
Yeah.
And just, I'm thinking about my own team. We were at a facility last year, cute as hell, totally inaccessible, and, very historic.
Oh, totally. I know. Yes. Yes.
And I come
My
out of
friend came to
Philadelphia.
visit. My
Yeah.
friend came to visit last week, Laurie, just to join you on that. And she goes, I thought about you. My daughter's volleyball tournament was touring, and we were at this hotel, and we got there and they said, by the way, the elevator's out, and we were on the 4th floor. She said, my first thought was you. What would you have done? I said, I would have left.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. Right. And she goes, now I'm thinking about this stuff. So every story you tell, every story I tell is going to help people.
Mhm.
I think about,
Mhm.
how many, we have a split level house. That was not something I was thinking about when we bought it, right? So
Right.
now we're in the process of trying to renovate a different house, move, do all the things, but it's
Mhm.
changing like how I want to live in my own home,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that if you want an employee to bring their best to work and they're struggling at home to get the laundry upstairs, they're pooped. And then you're like, hey, and make that 2-hour commute, right? We want you back in the office. Like, don't even get me started. Or maybe that's part two, Laurie.
Yeah.
But a
Yeah.
return to office mandate just for a power play,
Ah,
hell
can we
no.
talk about that for a bit? 'Cause
Okay,
that takes me away
you
from it.
real talk with Lisa and Laurie right now, like, are you freaking kidding me? I
Yeah.
could be in my pump and I could do more for you, right? So it's like, yes, there's a time and a place in person, 100%, but not
I
the
agree.
blanket whatever, because then you're not
No.
factoring in the individuals that are in your system.
Right. Right.
So,
And I
yeah.
used to work for a company where if you weren't a runner, and trust me, I am only running if there's a bear following me or maybe a bison,
I don't even
then
think I would be eaten by the bear, Laurie. I could
I
not
would be
run.
no, and I would be like trying my darndest to get out of the way, but
Yep,
I do not run. I cannot imagine me ever running, and
yep,
so, on the other hand, younger, I could run on heels, but that was just to get across a parking lot fast.
yep,
So,
yep,
but yeah, it was a nation of runners where I worked, and anybody that was different from that was never
mhm,
gonna get as far
yep,
as people who were athletic
yeah,
or I'm not kidding about this. If you had competed for the Olympics, that was a good place to work. If
mhm,
you had been a star athlete at some point and now you were going into corporate, that was a great place to work. They shall remain
interesting.
nameless, but they
Yeah.
do form the best and worst of my corporate experiences for the almost 13 years I was there. People can
Yep.
figure it out. So,
Well, you know what's interesting about that? You're just making me think, oh man. One of the things that uh, I've had such a diverse experience. So my background's human resources, and I did a lot of employee investigations. I had a lot of people in my office complaining
yeah,
about stuff, and Joe did this, and Sally did that, and all
yeah.
kinds of stuff. But I had one employee who was self-proclaimed highly sensitive, and I didn't know what that was at the time.
Mhm, mhm.
And, we're the engineering field and, it was like, "This room's too cold, the light's too bright," and then I had people getting migraines from overhead lighting, and, so I've had a lot of experience with people coming and saying, "Help me," but, like, living it is different, right? I've helped a lot of people modify their workplace, but
And
boy, when
being
it was
on the
my
receiving end, it was like, the mental eye roll would
Oh, yeah.
here's Mary again.
Oh,
Tell
totally.
can't stay in that hotel because of the stuff on the sheet. I can't tell you how often people's things when I
Uh-huh.
was younger and stupider,
Oh, yeah.
now I'm like,
Oh my gosh. Even like I used to run sales kickoffs and customer engagements, customer conferences, right? Huge.
Yeah.
And you'd get the menu requirements like kosher, vegan, octo,
Yeah.
lacto, all of it, right? And I'd be like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Now I'm like, no processed food, must be this, right? And I'm like, wait a minute. Like that's what makes this system run.
It
But
is.
in my younger years, I was like, oh my Lordy,
Uh,
this is a whole thing,
yeah.
right? You don't know till you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
that's how I try and look at all of this. I will get on my soapbox and talk about don't have blanket statements, right? But underneath it all, I'm hoping people will just pause and like, why? What is the purpose of this policy? Why does this policy exist? What are we trying to create? What are we
Mhm.
trying to prevent?
Mhm.
And then start there because again, how might we, how might I is a beautiful question to ask to unlock possibility.
I like that.
And yeah, our quick start guide's coming out this week, which is a conversation worth having quick start guide.
Yeah.
And it's something that I used conversations worth having to help me navigate lipedema as much as it's helped me lead teams,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
conversations you have matter, and that's the connective tissue. That's the glue in your system.
Mhm.
So if it's like, "Oh, here comes Mary again," you might catch yourself and go, what might I not know about Mary?" Yeah.
Yeah.
That's advice for my younger self too. I am very
Yeah.
guilty of it. I am.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't know
So
what you don't know
you don't
sometimes.
know. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had that conversation at lunch yesterday. I was like, somebody said, "Have you ever written a book?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I wrote one in 2018. Is the failed attempt recently, and yeah, it went on too long, and now it's not relevant." And so, but I
Yep.
was like, I have to go back to that one from 2018 because I am not the same. I do not.
Totally.
I have different knowledge now than I did
Yep.
then, and
Yep.
see if anything didn't age well because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Well, you didn't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the beautiful thing I think for a leader is to own, "Oh my gosh, I've evolved and here's how my thinking has changed, and here's what informed that change." That
yeah,
is a gift to everyone around you.
yes.
That's a gift. So yay
And
you for going back and looking forward.
well, and I think that a lot of people too, I work in a lot of male-dominated industries, and so they're very cut and dried,
Yep.
sometimes too stereotype. They're very cut and dried with like, this is right, this is wrong.
Mhm.
If you had half a brain, you'd know this, kind of things I've heard over time.
Yep.
And sometimes what happens is either that person gets diagnosed a certain way usually because they had a child. I found that
Mhm.
children make a bigger impact on parents than spouses do. Or anyway, dealing with men versus like if they had a woman for a spouse, then her problems are her, yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then they have a daughter, and then it's all different.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we need to have somebody close by us, or we hear
Mhm.
something like this and we recognize somebody close by us.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I know somebody that my daughter has legs like that. My son has this thing going on.
Mm.
Maybe we should look into that. And then it's
Yeah.
the process.
It's funny because they say, like, your mess is your message, and I definitely think that, the mess is your soul's assignment on this planet, like,
Yeah.
you gotta figure it out, and then I believe no I always say, "Not on my watch, no one will ever not know now,
Right.
I'm never gonna shut up," right?
Yeah.
So, there is an opportunity,
Yeah. Suzanne
yeah,
said
and I love
that.
Suzanne's comment, "Leaders are impatient with others who need that they don't understand." Yeah, the default should be to do what you can absolutely. What can you do to help? How might I help you? What could make it 10% easier? I can't solve your problem, but how might what can I do that would make it easier is a different question as a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much here, and yeah, people are busy executing, the pressure is on. I mean, heck, I deal with AI every day in our leadership stuff, right? And,
Yeah.
financial pressures are up and everybody's and it's like, and I'm gonna be, like, patient and be like, "You need an accommodation?" So,
Mhm.
sometimes I don't even ask it as and there's
Mhm.
yes, there's legal things you can ask for accommodations, but sometimes I just say, "Here's what will bring the best out of me."
Yeah.
Right? We have an exercise, the best
Good
of
way to
me.
frame it.
I'm
Yeah.
always talking to people, frame it that way. That
Yeah.
helps tie it back to the business, and you might have a better shot than, "I need
Yeah.
this, and this is the way it is." Now, there's legal stuff here. I'm not giving legal advice. I am
Right.
saying influence skills and the psychology of leadership is help them see how you can move the needle for what the business needs to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Look at
Yep,
that.
can't solve your problem, but what can I do to make it easier?
We
Yep.
have a magical person in the background, Nixie, who,
Oh,
takes care of
Nixie.
all this. Yeah, who just takes care of everything and puts things up on screen. And I
Yeah.
should say that Suzanne and I met at one of those male-dominated, field conferences at a
Oh,
women's dinner. So they always
okay.
have a women's dinner, because There
Yeah.
used to be so few,
Yep.
and I was speaking, and, so we met there, and, yeah, it
Oh,
is
that's cool.
it's different in male-dominated fields than female-dominated
Mm.
fields. It's got similarities. I'm not saying it's like all the men are bit no, not saying that at all.
No, but yeah, there's
They don't
norms.
we don't
Misdiag
know what we don't know,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
sometimes it's educating. And sometimes somebody might go to a leader and say, "I have stuff going on that you can't see within my body, but it's
Mhm.
causing me great pain," and there is a diagnosis if you ever wanna know about it, but,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that this is what I need.
Yeah.
Um, and then they still may backpedal because I also find that in firms that are smaller, that are not the humongous firms that have multiple resources to go to,
Yep.
you're going to somebody in a small and medium-sized company, they may not have ever yeah, it was a game-changing dinner, wasn't it, Suzanne?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. They don't have the resources to go to, and they don't know where to go. And
oh, a million
so
times over. Yeah, especially like, yeah, I have so much to say here, but I'll just for the sake of time,
go right
I will
ahead.
say, start where you are, right? Start where you are. Here's my reality. I'm fatigued. I'm tired. This is happening. Or even if you're caretaking, like we got to call that out too. That's a hidden thing going on in the
Oh my
workplace,
gosh,
right?
yes.
So it's
Yes.
just like, here's what's going on. I'm committed to these results, and here's what would help me. Here's what would help me get there. What's possible? Are
Mhm.
you open to a conversation about how we might be flexible for the next few weeks so I can get this handled? Or, I think timing matters.
Mhm.
I think you being creative and having multiple paths to your solution matters. And I
Yeah.
also think it's on the leader, which I mean, I guess the good news is we have jobs to help these people, right? But the leader has, I think it's an honor to be a leader. You
Yeah.
have this tremendous opportunity to impact people, and it ripples in the homes and the communities. It's a big deal, and so just staying curious, and also you can be practical and say, our policy says I can't do this, but here's what I think we can do. Would this work? Like, let's brainstorm other ways to get to the same solution because there's many. There's
So many.
many.
Yeah.
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 Regardless of the size of your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I love the fact that I was kinda looking at my list of, like, what all do we wanna
Uh,
cover, and it talked about resources and awareness. So, when I love the fact that there's a group that you are in,
mhm.
and that people can compare stories and people can compare resources and things. So if somebody thinks they have this, what kinds of things do you wanna offer up for, like, "Hey, here's how you can work your way
Yeah.
through it," or just Google it or put it in your AI or whatever?
Yeah, yeah, and I would say, anyone who's live, drop them in here too. So there's an organization called the American Lipedema Association. It's run by Susan O'Hara. She is a tremendous workplace advocate and also a research geek, self-proclaimed. She's an amazing advocate in our space. She's written many books, so you could go follow her on LinkedIn. You could go to the American Lipedema Association. The Lipedema Foundation is another great place to go. They have lots of like pamphlets and resources for you as a patient to help you navigate the system. I found community at Lipedema Simplified. Lipedema Simplified was founded by Catherine Seo. She was the documentarian who did the disease they call fat. That's where I found community. And I would go, I was a tribe member for quite a while and would go to the fireside chats and the book clubs and the little things that they would do to support the community. And then I became one of the hosts and MCs at their conference every year.
Mm,
That's a tremendous way to like be in community. They have wonderful conferences. There's a lot of people more prominently on LinkedIn now. There's Casey Grosvenor. She's another one who is very active on LinkedIn. Um, there's also from the lymphatic side, I have a LymphaPress pump, and they have a roundtable every month for lipedema patients. So LymphaPress
okay.
has a great patient roundtable, and there's so much more. There's podcasts. The nutritionist that I work with, she does Instagram lives all the time, educating people. Her name is Bonnie Newland, and her company is Crave Nourishment. And I would say anyone who's at the intersection of lipedema, obesity, and lymphedema, right? You clearly have some nutrition support needed, right? You got to
Mhm.
figure out how to heal your gut to heal your body.
Yeah.
Bonnie is amazing. She is so gifted. And she's such a beautiful resource to our community. So, there's a lot more. I'm just trying to think of like real time things we could type in as we're talking.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so here's the thing, not everybody's for everyone. And here's my warning for the world. With AI, there has been a lot of scammy, predatory beep in the world. So don't trust it at first glance. Go to the people that you know are real, find the integrity in it, question everything. There's these creams now and these like machines. It's like, oh, come on, guys. Like, you are so taking advantage of
Yeah.
people that are already struggling, who haven't had the support and who are financially strapped. Because even when I go get manual lymphatic drainage, my insurance doesn't cover that. So that costs me, everything costs money. Compression you
Yeah.
wear, gym memberships, everything to take care of yourself. So
Yeah.
watch out for the predatory fly-by-night, too good to be true stuff, because it's easy to
Facebook ads.
wanna believe it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can come back after this as we end this, because we're coming up to time.
Sure.
As we do end it in a few minutes, we can come back to this. The recording will be right here, and we'll put all the things in the comments, and then
Cool.
you can add as you want
Yeah, I
to.
can go tag people for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and Suzanne and, hold on, I just clicked off the comments. And Noreen, feel free to add things as
These.
you have done, resources that you've uncovered, if you know of any. So Lisa, if people want to get a hold of you, how do you want them to reach out? So either for your leadership work
Mhm.
or about lipedema, how do
Oh,
they
yeah.
reach you?
So, yeah, if you're looking for support with leadership alignment in your leadership systems, the RLD Group is a great place to go. That's our website, rldgroupllc.com.
There we are.
You can always ping me on LinkedIn. I actually answer the stuff. If you're looking for a speaker to talk about lipedema workplace advocacy, lisaduerre.com is the website. You can find all my speaking stuff on that side. But everything intersects at LinkedIn, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook too. But I think if you were to do one thing and go one place, I would go to LinkedIn because it can branch from everywhere. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, it's Lisa Duerre. And I also have a YouTube channel that my daughter says, "You're no Mr. Beast, Mom," but I got a YouTube channel and I do talk about all this there too.
Very nice. Real Talk with Lisa.
Yeah,
Nice.
keeping it
Okay.
real, Laurie.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything we missed that you wanted to go over?
Oh, I love this conversation so much. I think we've covered a lot. I would say, I guess my closing thought, that if you are the leader in the system thinking who in my org has a hidden something, and you're nervous about how to talk about it or what to do, or you don't want to overstep, if you have an HR partner, talk to them. If have a trusted manager that you can talk to, have a conversation, like role play it, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, but have the conversation, because not having it is
Yeah.
way worse. Leaving it invisible not only damages the relationship that you have with the employee and their ability to produce what you need in the system, but it also keeps you at a distance. And I think that we need to lean into the humans inside our system and support them. So have
Mhm.
the conversation and equip yourself to do it, even if you're scared.
Mm. Yeah, I would definitely say that's true. I want to thank you for coming here and spending an hour with us and educating us about lipedema
Thank
and
you.
the other things that can show up at the same time, that it may not just be one thing, it might be many things happening in our body.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Thank
quite
you, Laurie.
complicated little machines, aren't they?
You know what? People are like, AI is awesome. I'm like, this human body of mine has done so much for me, and I have abused it and ignored it, screaming at me sometimes. Like, the system of
Mm,
the human, whew, it's
pretty crazy. Pretty
magnificent.
amazing.
Yeah.
Right, right. All the things are true at once. That's my
Yeah.
latest thing, is all the things are true at once.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I didn't do an introduction of Aligned at Work in the very beginning, so I promised myself I would get better at this. So Aligned at Work does something similar to you,
Yeah.
where
We play in the same place sometimes.
we absolutely, and we care about AI, but we mostly care about the humans in the center of the leadership equation. And so we too are trying to create workplaces where the humans really want to come to work,
Yeah.
where they thrive. And when I say come to work, that could be from the couch, because I fully believe in remote, and not only remote work, but hybrid work, if that works for people. I do think that there's a reason sometimes when you have an unsafe place at home where you might want to get away to work and you might
Yep.
want an office to go to. But there's so many of us that find it so much easier to balance our lives and manage all the things we have to manage if we are able to stay in a space that we have set up to accommodate us. And my whole team works that way. And we have not really experienced a culture problem, which is oftentimes what people say when they want to yank people back to the office. So by all means, reach out to us. I'm Laurie at Aligned at Work and all over LinkedIn. As people know, it's easy just to find me right here and connect, or follow if you want, but you can ask me for a connection and I will happily grant you one.
Yeah, can I say something about Aligned at Work?
Yeah.
You didn't ask me to do this, but I want to say
Okay.
something.
No, I didn't.
No, well, so
what-
listen, people. Okay, there's room for all of us, and yeah,
Yeah.
we're both about the humans and the system. I want to tell you something about Laurie Battaglia and Aligned at Work. They walk the talk. They do the work. She is, as the leader, always demonstrating inclusion and belonging and curiosity. As a speaker, there's nobody better than Laurie on stage. And in those, in those strategic planning sessions or the workshops that you guys deliver, the coaching that you do, I know that you bring more than people can even see because of the values that you bring and who you are in this world. And you are such a connector that I would run, don't walk, go talk to Laurie. I'm not, there's room for everybody, but Laurie, what you guys do and how you show up matters. And it's inspiring to watch, and it's an honor to call you friend.
Back at you. Everything
Thank
you said, same thing. And by the way, you've got a research paper that you did that people might want to get a hold of too. I just realized that.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
We didn't talk about that.
We're busy talking.
And then we'll hang up.
Well, yeah. So basically, we interviewed a bunch of 25 executives deploying AI in their system through the lens of how does it impact the humans, right? What is in the way of you getting value? And we found 3 root drivers of fragmentation. You can find it on the paper, but in that paper, we also built a do-it-yourself audit so that you can see what's happening in your system and figure out what you can do. Back to what can we do instead of the 35 things? What's one thing? And how to make measurable impact in less than 30 days with that lens. People love it. I've been on podcasts talking about it a lot. I'm thrilled. I'm proud. I hope people download it. And it's really about the leadership system. It's not about the tool, right? We have a leadership problem, not a tool problem.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me bring that up.
Run, don't walk, and get that paper. And keep an eye on what Lisa is up to. Thanks. And with that, I think we're going to draw our day to a close and say thank you so much, Lisa, for this. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. You are the kind of friend and colleague that everybody should have. We should surround ourselves with people like that.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for all that you do. And I can't wait to go tag some really cool people and keep the conversation going offline. Let's do it.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Noreen.